What is up, Arrow fans? I'm Tommy from Z&D Comics, and welcome to my review of Arrow Season 3, Episode 2, Sara. So, what happened in the previous episode is that we saw Sara Lance die by 3 arrows and falling off a building at the very last second of the previous episode. Now, I'm going to start off my non-spoiler review, and then I'll get on to my spoiler review. So, if you haven't seen the episode, you're safe to watch. But don't worry, for people who have seen the episode, I will be talking about every little detail of today's episode in a little bit, but here we're going to go on to my non-spoiler review. So I give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. It was a good episode. It was solid. It's definitely improving a lot better than the previous season, so I'm proud of that. And basically, most of this episode is, spent trying to solve the mystery on who killed Sara Lance. And the first person they think of is Komodo. Now, personally, I think Komodo is the one that killed Sara Lance. But this is my non-spoiler review, so I won't answer the question if that is true or if that is not true. But I'm just going to tell you that most of this episode is spent on, who killed Sara, and Detective Lance, or so I guess he's Police Officer Lance now, does not know that Sara was killed, and he will not find out by the end of this episode. So really, it's getting kept a secret because Sara died, and Sara was technically already dead, so there's not actually a funeral. It's more of a personal matter, and a lot of people are getting affected by it, and of course, this brings back the Oliver question on, is he Oliver or is he Arrow? And that is getting solved here because when someone dies close to you, you have emotions. But can Oliver have emotions? Yes. But can Arrow have emotions? No, he cannot. So, of course, that question, which is kind of the theme of this entire, season, I should say, season 3, is going to get, involved in this episode. So, like I said, this episode is a 7.5 out of 10. I really like Komodo. His story sort of ends in this episode, though, but he's obviously going to come back. The flashbacks are very interesting right now, more interesting than they ever have been. I like how they brought us to Hong Kong. I can't wait for us to see Katana. And I like the storyline. I like the new guy that we're seeing. I don't know his name. I don't even think we got his name. But I'm talking about the man whose family was threatened by, I think it was Argus, and literally he's like a really cool character, and I like what they had with him in this episode. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil it. So, as far as it goes with flashbacks, they were pretty good. The Sara death was sort of sudden, and I felt that it was almost like the impact of it in this episode was really not that well. And one thing I did dislike about this episode would be the very ending, and I won't talk about that right now. But let's go into my spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the episode, come back to this part of my review and watch it after you've seen this episode. Like I said, for all the people who haven't seen it, 7.5 out of 10. It's a good episode. Get on watching it. Okay, so now I'm going to get on to my spoiler review. So as you do find out that Komodo is not the one who killed Sara Lance, and I honestly thought he was, but it was kind of obvious once they brought him in right away in this episode that he was not the murderer. So my guess is that it's actually Thea Queen. That's my next guess right now. So we do find out that in the preview, the entire next episode is probably going to get spent with Oliver tracking down where Thea is, and he's going to find out that Thea was getting trained by Malcolm Merlyn, which happens at the end of this episode. So my guess, the reason I think it's Thea Queen is because it's an archer, okay? Now, Thea, I don't know if she's going to be an archer, but honestly, I have two guesses on who could kill Sara now. It's obviously not Komodo. I'll get into him later, but there's really two people that it could be. It could be Ra's al Ghul or one of the League of Assassins, but we kind of got that question solved in this episode is, could it be the League of Assassins? And Oliver responded, no, they don't kill each other. Now, they don't kill each other, but if Sara were to leave the League of Assassins, they would hunt her to murder her. But you did find out in Season 2 is that, League of Assassins helped Arrow at the end of the season finale, the Season 2 finale against Deathstroke, so why would they all of a sudden be hating against Sara? So there's really no motive for the League of Assassins to attack Sara in this episode. We do know that Ra's al Ghul will be attacking Arrow, but I don't know if Ra's al Ghul would really be killing Sara. It's a possibility, but then again, why would they be using, why would there be an archer killing him, or killing her? So when you take the possibility of the League of Assassins being the murderer away, the only real response you can get is maybe it was the Dark Archer, or the Black Archer, whoever you want to call him, I don't really care. But maybe it was Malcolm Merlyn, or maybe it was Thea Queen. Now, I really like what they're doing is that Thea is actually getting trained. She looks different. She has a haircut. She looks older. And she's honestly, with only 5 months of training, she's doing pretty well. And it looks like she's in the early stages of, training to her peak human abilities, which is pretty much what everyone in this Arrow universe has been doing so far. And we've seen in the preview of the next episode is that Malcolm is almost going to be torturing her. She's going to be pouring hot water on her skin and doing things that will cause her pain so she can get used to it when she's in the battle. So that's pretty awesome. I don't think, Oliver's going to, respond to that very well. So, Yeah, that's going to be a great moment in the next episode, but it looks like they're actually taking a break from that. So as far as it goes with this episode, the reason it's a 7.5 out of 10 and not like a 10 out of 10 is a few things. Now, towards the end of the episode, we saw that Sara actually, she was going to tell Lance, her dad, that Sara died. And Laurel was sorry, I mixed up those names. The reason Laurel didn't tell him is because she saw a picture on the desk and everything. I hate those moments. This is the reason my review got a little bit lower. Like, Laura was just about to tell her dad, and then 5 seconds later, right before it happens, she looks at a picture and changes her entire motive. Like, come on. If you're going to spend all that time thinking about it, and then all of a sudden, the last second, you're just like, nope, I'm sorry about that thing, which obviously made no sense. If I was her dad, I noticed that she was obviously lying to me right there. So I don't like that. I feel like that's just bad choices, bad acting. It doesn't make sense. It's not realistic, and I don't like when they do things like that. I mean, not in those situations, in a scenario like that, it could work. But when someone has a decision and they change last second to give us, like, I don't know, some sort of cliffhanger, it doesn't. I don't like it. It doesn't work well and doesn't make sense. Now, the other reason I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 is going to be because of Komodo. Now, Komodo was like a one-use time villain, I don't like how he just got caught all of a sudden. So hopefully he comes back, because Komodo is a brand new villain in the New 52. I mean, that's kind of the only story arc I know of him, and he is kind of connected to Robert Queen. He actually worked for Robert Queen, sort of was like Robert Queen's son when Oliver was gone, and then, of course, things turned the wrong way. He eventually became an archer and an assassin, and he has a really rich history and storyline, so really hope they bring that back. It's like they just threw away this great villain. Like, you could have chose anybody else, and you just threw Komodo at our faces and then ripped him out of our hands. So I hope to God that they bring him back in a better way. So he's really much the only villain that we saw. And as far as it goes with Laurel's really pissed off. She actually was about to kill Komodo, but there was no bullets in the gun, as you all know. But I can't wait till she gets trained by Wildcat. I mean, I'm dying to see that. Like, that's going to be the moment where we kind of get the progression of Laurel to, her superhero form, So I'm really excited for that. So Wildcat, they better bring him in soon. Now, the last characters I haven't really talked about would be Felicity and, of course, Ray Palmer. So I really like Ray Palmer. He kind of brightens up the show, makes it a little bit more superhero-like. And, I thought about this during the episode. It's like, wow, 2 CEOs of 2 companies are both superheroes. Now, Ray Palmer, of course, isn't a superhero yet, but he will become the Atom, probably in the Flash series. They kind of hinted that towards it. So like I was saying, I like how Ray Palmer is he's a cheer-up guy. Like, he really always knows what he's saying. He's very smart, and I like how he's changing the progression of the city, how he's making it Star City. Now, to Oliver, he's almost like a bad guy. Not really. I mean, he did take over his company, but come on. Oliver was being a mess. He kind of deserved it, and he respects that. So I like Ray Palmer. I like the relationship with Felicity. So I think that they're going to have sort of a connection soon, which is ironic because when you think about it, Felicity just had a connection with Arrow. Or I guess I'm gonna go by superhero names. Felicity just had a connection with Arrow, but also had a connection with the Flash. And now she has a connection with the Atom. For some reason, all the superheroes just want to hop in that Felicity junk. You know what I mean? Like, what? Come on, we have Atom, the Flash, and Arrow, 3 superheroes, all, as of right now, hit on Felicity. Honestly, she's an alright girl. I don't think she's that hot. I mean, she's alright, but, I don't know. She just looks weird to me. I mean, I wouldn't hit on her. Actually, no. I would hit on her, but I don't think she's as hot enough for 3 superheroes to hit on you. It's just messed up. So that's a stupid complaint, but I'm just wanted to share my thoughts on that. So this episode deserves a 7.5 out of 10, and I can't wait to see what's going to go on with Malcolm Merlyn and Thea Queen. So anyway, comment down below on your thoughts on this episode. Don't forget to like this video. I want my reviews to get more likes. They're getting the amount of views I'm, hoping for, like 3,000 views, and then all of a sudden I get, like 45 likes? So it's a simple, little motion. You just scroll your finger down on your keypad and press the, I think it's the left button, and then you're done. Yeah, so it's pretty simple. So don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And anyway, I'm Tommy from Z&D Comics, and I want you to have a great night.
Ready, aim, fire.